I'm Hunter.
I'm Tino. We're here to drop our hot takes about the amusement industry.
You're listening to the Sweet Seat Podcast. It's the first one. It's the first one we're doing.
Yeah, and see, this is when like podcasters do their thing. We're like, oh yeah, we say we're like super comfortable and ready to go. And then we're just like completely awkward.
No, not at all. We are not prepared whatsoever.
Yeah, we're going into this not completely blind. We've got a couple of notes.
We do. We have some really good topics lined up. Like we came up with these the other night, and we kind of got done, and we were like, this is going to be a good stack up for the first
podcast.
If this is an example of how this is going to go, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. First one. This is the first time that I've attempted to do anything like a podcast, any other kind of like content for the Sweet Seat ever. Usually it's just the typical like cinematic videos and like discussion videos that I usually do. And Christian used to do like all of his No Limit stuff, but now we have a podcast.
I know, it's so exciting. I guess this is my formal introduction.
Exactly. We should probably introduce ourselves.
So, I mean, you guys all know Hunter because, right?
Yes. I like to kind of call myself the lead content creator because it technically is my channel, but
yes, he owns it.
I do own the Sweet Seat. But yeah, I'm Hunter. And then over here we have Tino. He's the newest addition to the Sweet Seat, and he's here because I invited him on this podcast because I knew he would have a lot of good things to say about Hersheypark, roller coasters, the amusement industry, probably more than I do.
Yeah, I feel like I live and breathe it in a way. Mm-hmm. Like even in my like free time, like I feel like somehow like if I'm just like on my computer or something, like I somehow fall into this coaster rabbit hole or something.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm learning more and more about this industry every day.
And that's why I knew that you'd be the perfect one. Plus, I think we balance each other out. Like I have like a casual, I would say, like understanding about the industry and roller coasters and stuff. And then I feel like you are very much like in tune with everything that's going on. Yes.
I view things from a very unique perspective, I think. Mm-hmm. One from industry experience and also just like other industries too. So like outside of, my work, at Hershey, we both work with each other at Hershey. Right. That's how we met.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, we both work at Hersheypark as ride operators. In fact, we're supervisors.
Yes.
But yeah, that's how we got to know each other.
Yeah. But like, outside of my work there, I also do software engineering and we do some safety critical stuff too. And there's a lot of topics and concepts that cross over into, like roller coaster control systems and stuff like that. So yes, like throughout my professional work, I've used, my Hershey work and, all my other ride up experience that has influenced my, software work and vice versa.
Right.
Yes. So
we have a few things to talk about today.
Yes.
As we kind of mentioned earlier, we have a few things that we have in mind. We want to talk about Top Thrill Dragster because that's a huge thing going on in the coaster community right now.
Yes.
A little bit about Cedar Point, vloggers and parks, which is something that I really want to talk about. And then also we're going to talk a little bit about year-round operations.
Yes, this is the topic that's near and dear to my heart just because during the off season, I've had the opportunity to visit a couple of these parks that just started year-round operations.
Right. So that's going to be our first section. It's going to be all about like nationally across the country. What do these things look like?
Yes.
And we're calling that our Runaway Ramble because it's going to go wherever it really wants to.
Yes.
But then we're going to take those year-round operations. We're going to convert that into our next section, which is the Chocolatetown Chat, which is going to be more Hersheypark focused.
Yes.
So we're going to talk a little bit about those year-round operations and what that could look like at Hersheypark. And then we're going to do a whole review about Wildcat because obviously that's the biggest thing coming to Hershey. Yes. So why wouldn't we talk about the Wildcat? So we're going to go over that a little bit. And then to end things off, we're going to have a little bit of a debrief by talking about something or someone, whatever it might be, in the amusement industry that is bothering us or that we are a huge fan of, anything like that. And that's going to be our sweet spot / bitter take, whatever one it is, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah. Perhaps maybe you guys will even decide that.
Maybe.
Maybe.
All right. Well, let's get into it. So first, Top Thrill Dragster.
Oh, yes.
This is big for Tino because I feel like you know more about it than I do.
Yeah, so I want to take a moment and just kind of talk about like how all of this started, right? So I feel like most people are familiar with what happened back in 2021. The accident that happened, the ride closed, it never reopened.
Yeah.
So end of 2022 was when Cedar Point officially announced, hey, we're done with Dragster as we know it.
Yeah.
Was the key thing they said.
Yes.
And that's when track started to disappear. Now, in the coaster communities all around the internet, there were talks of, oh, what's going to happen next? Is Intamin coming in? Are they going to put their fancy new LSM launch on it? Is another company going to come in and do it? And that's when the rumors started floating around that a company named Zamperla might be responsible for a potential renovation of this ride.
Now, this is basically what I've heard.
Yes.
Like from my knowledge, the most that I've heard about this is that it's probably going to be getting LSMs.
Yes.
And that it's probably going to be done by Zamperla.
Yes. And let's take a moment to talk about that for a second.
Okay.
So Zamperla, okay. They're a well-known company. All right. They are well known for their flat rides and for some of their smaller kiddie rides.
Right.
Like, for example,
But not their coasters currently. But they're getting into that gig.
Starting to get into that.
Yes.
And when I first heard this, all right, someone mentioned this to me. Oh yeah, Zamperla's doing it. And I just look at them like, Zamperla?
Of all people?
Of all companies. Like, don't get me wrong. There are companies out there who are very, very experienced with launch coasters. Premier is a big company that does that. You know, they've done Skyrocket, Kennywood. That's the only one I can really think of off the top of my head.
In the area, yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of premieres on the East Coast in general.
There's a couple older ones, but those are LIM launches, but nonetheless.
Right.
But like when you think of a big, like a major launch coaster over 400 feet, you don't think of Zamperla, the kiddie ride manufacturer.
Absolutely not.
To be the ones to do this project. However, in the pipeline though, something that is well known is they are actually refurbishing an older Intamin accelerator coaster for another park. I don't know offhand what that is.
Is it in the U.S.?
I don't even know. But
I don't even think I know about this, to be honest.
So what we do know is that it is an old Intamin hydraulic launch coaster that they are converting to an LSM coaster, and Zamperla is taking on the whole project. That's why those new trains that were announced at IAAPA, that's what those are for.
Oh, okay.
So we see this piece of the puzzle, and then we hear the Zamperla Dragster rumors, and I think somebody else on Reddit actually tracked one of the shipping containers for some of the Top Thrill Dragster track, and figured out it was actually
the ones that they took off.
Yes, for the pieces of track that they actually took off the ride, put in shipping containers. They tracked that shipping container to a port near Zamperla's headquarters. It's actually, I think it's the same port that Intamin also uses. So, grain of salt there. But
I'm going to interrupt for a second. Some of y'all enthusiasts out there are fucking nosy, okay? Can we talk about it? Some of y'all just need to know everything that is going on in the industry. Which, when you said that somebody literally, tracked down this piece of track, I was like, who is probably some old man out there who is so committed to finding where this piece of track is going?
Hey, don't get me wrong. We're nosy too. We just don't have that much effort.
Okay, but we're nosy to a limit.
Yes.
There is an extent.
Yes.
Between looking crazy and looking like you're a big fan of coasters and stuff. Whatever.
But anyway, so after we heard about that, all right, Zamperla is surprisingly now a plausible option. Then the newest rumor that we've heard of, if any of you guys follow the El Toro Ryan YouTube channel, he was the one I think that really broke this news. The possibility of them adding a swing launch to Dragster, which is basically if you've ridden, for example, Icebreaker at SeaWorld Orlando or Pantheon at Busch Gardens Williamsburg, that launch that you go forwards, then backwards, then forwards again. The idea is they're going to add that to Dragster by adding a backwards spike to the ride. Perhaps that might break a height limit.
I don't know. I don't feel like it would be that good of a launch.
Perhaps, yeah.
It might be really fast, which some people might like. However, I really like launches that are punchy, like a nice punchy launch, like Stormrunner at Hersheypark. I think that has a fantastic punchy launch. The rest of it,
Yeah.
definitely something to look forward to. We'll have to keep an eye on what they're doing. Obviously, they have announced that something is coming with that for 2024.
Yeah. If you watch towards it, I imagine end of August, end of September, we'll probably know a lot more by then. Probably officially too.
Maybe even at IAPA.
Isn't IAPA like normally November-ish?
It's sometime in the fall, yeah. I would say at like October, November.
It'll be sometime towards the end of the year. I think we'll know more. So, yeah.
For sure. Vloggers at amusement parks. I think what I primarily want to know from you is, do you think vlogging should like be allowed in amusement parks?
You see, I don't really have that strong of an opinion like for or against it because I don't think it really distracts from my experience of the park. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I've had experiences before where I'm walking around Hershey and I see someone holding their phone in front of them, talking about their experiences. And that person may or may not have been Hunter, but I don't think it ever was.
I don't think it ever was, but
No.
but I have. If you've seen some of the vlogs that I did, I've definitely done it in the past.
But like, I see it. I walk past them. I move on with my day.
The other reason why I want to talk about this is because I sent you a picture like a few weeks ago, and it was at Disneyland Paris, and there was this picture that I saw on Facebook of somebody that had this huge mount on their camera.
Yes.
And it had other cameras all over attached to it with phones, cameras, microphones, like this entire setup. And it was very, very, very clearly distracting because it was in front of Tower of Terror during their nighttime show that they project onto the Tower of Terror. Do you think there's like a limit that there should be on vlogging at parks? Like, is there an extent to where it's too much and it is distracting to people besides just having your phone out and filming your experience?
So the only reference point I have on this is I know there are parks out there that limit basically any cameras you can bring into something that can either fit in your pocket or something that does not have a detachable lens. There are also parks that limit selfie sticks or any form of tripod in their parks.
Right.
That sounds like the reasonable limit to me.
So like, I have vlogged in the park at Hersheypark before. I don't really do it much anymore because, one, I don't like being on camera too much.
And two, his coworkers will ridicule him if we see him in the
absolutely.
park.
I will be judged so hard, which prevents me a little bit from doing it as well.
Yes.
But also, like, it's really hard to vlog at somewhere like Hersheypark because day to day, it's very, very similar. There's not a lot of change that happens besides maybe the size of the crowds and like a construction update of what's going on. Like I'm not going to literally be like, oh my God, they ripped this tree out of the park. Some people could do that, but I'm not going to do that because nobody cares.
Remember back in what was it, like April or May, when like things were slowly disappearing from the park and there were people online saying RMC, and I'm just like, oh my God, they removed a piece of wood. Shut the fuck up. There's a video out there, by the way, from a fellow YouTuber. I can't remember what, but they did that. And I'm in that video. I'm just chilling on the side of the station with it all clear up. And I'm just like, I didn't even know they were recording. That's the funny thing. So I just found this video and I'm in it. And I'm like, what the heck?
I have a feeling I know who you're talking about. So overall, though, like, I think vlogging is a good thing because it helps the park out.
Yes.
There is a limit because you don't want to distract somebody else's experience. And when that happens, like, the park can even get in trouble for that.
Exactly, yeah.
Because if someone is having an issue with it, where are they going to go to? They're going to go to the park. They're going to go to guest services. They're going to go to a window and they want to talk to somebody about it because they don't think it should be allowed.
So our next topic is talking about year-round operations at parks. So this year, a couple parks down south, notably Kings Dominion and Carowinds, announced that they would be starting year-round operations, which is a first for them.
Woohoo! We love seeing this trend.
Yes, always glad to see more parks expanding their hours. And so I wanted to talk about this a little bit, and this will actually kind of serve into our transition to the Chocolatetown Chat. Just about how that went, just because, I had the opportunity to visit both King's Dominion and Carowinds during this off-season.
Spoiled bastard over here.
It's a great drive. Anyways, so I had the opportunity to visit both of those. And, I think it would be fun to also talk about how that might apply to us at Hershey, some of those topics as well. So one thing I will say, just to start out, is kudos to both the King's Dominion and Carowinds teams, because I will say, being able to ride Twisted Timbers in the middle of February, yes, giving me more things to do in the off season. I love it, and riding Fury as well. I think it's the year-round operations so far. Otherwise, though, it looks like it's been a success for most of the parks.
Right.
And I would absolutely love for them to continue that. I think they need to market it a little more for King's Dominion, because I don't think people knew about it.
Right.
Seemed pretty quiet when I was there, but it's understanding your market and understanding the maintenance that comes with that and understanding the right balance there. Mm-hmm. I think moving forward, Carowinds will excel at this. I think they'll be one of the best parks to visit in the off-season.
Most parks that, it seems like most parks that have done this their first year is just kind of
Yes.
Like, it had a rocky start, but just like anything else, over time, they're going to get better and better and better at it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, good overall to see that, and I'm really, really excited, and I hope that I get to make Carowinds a frequent off-season visit park.
I think it would be great to visit there during the off-season.
Yeah, we'll go in February and ride Fury. Marathon it.
Okay, perfect. Maybe not next year, because I'll still be here, but
make it work.
Okay.
We'll do it on spring break or something.
Yeah.
Okay. But why don't we tie that back into Hershey and move into our Chocolatetown Chat?
Yeah, it's the Chocolatetown Chat.
Do we
back in our hometown.
Yes, of Hershey.
We're cozy here. We know everything about our place, our home park.
Wow. That's so true, considering we both grew up here.
We did.
Yes.
We did. You spent some time away, but...
A little bit.
A little bit of time. But it's still our
Hershey's
home park.
Still home.
It's still our home park.
Yes.
Permanent home park for me. Anyways.
Wow, okay.
I'm sorry. I have more years on you, okay?
He does. Wait, no, I'm older than you. What are we talking about?
I'm talking about how much time I've had at Hersheypark as my home park.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All my life. All my life.
We'll let him have the W.
Okay, whatever.
With quotes.
You're just jealous.
So talking about year-round operations now, I think it would be interesting to have the discussion of if Hershey would ever pull it off.
I think they could. I do. I think they could. However, this is a big however, I think a lot of people would be disappointed with what's offered, because the way that Hershey works with their maintenance department is that during the off season, they basically have 3-4 months to take care of every single attraction, take all the parts off of the rides, obviously except for the coasters. You're not taking away the entire track and stuff. Let's clarify that. It's just the ride vehicles, or if it's a flat ride, it's the ride.
Yes.
They're taking those parts off, replacing the parts, at least the ones that actually may need it, putting it all back together. And this is in 3 to 4 months for over 70 attractions.
Yes.
It's a crazy amount. And although they get it done for that, imagine having to do that now while the park is still operating. So it would have to shift the park's schedule within their maintenance department.
Yes.
I think it would work, but I think the point that I'm getting at is that the rides that are offered are not going to be too many, because each ride can only operate in certain weather conditions. So I would imagine that you're going to see mostly Candy Lane-ish rides.
Yes. Yes. If that.
Right. So you're coaster wise, you're going to see probably Candemonium. It's 3 trains, so you're probably going to see something similar to what's going on with Fury.
Yeah.
Super Duper Looper, probably with 1 train.
Yeah.
Laugh Track is Laugh Track, so that'll probably be fine. They can rotate. They have a lot of cars for Laugh Track, so they can rotate those cars in and out.
Yeah.
But you get the idea. So I think it is possible, but within reason. There's a lot of, limitations on what is going to be offered if it's a year-round operation.
And I mean, the other thing you can also kind of ask is to, like, okay, looking at this a little bit more from a business perspective. Mm-hmm. Say we wanted to do year-round operations. Say we wanted to increase maintenance labor to support that.
Right.
Could you throw enough maintenance at it to offset the shorter amount of time in terms of turnaround you'd have for these rides to keep them up and running year-round?
But yeah, overall, Hershey could do it. They're ambitious enough. It's just if they choose to do so or not.
Yes.
I could see it happening, though. I could see them being the trendsetters for it, too. Like before Great Adventure, Dorney, like any of these other local parks, like around here in Pennsylvania or in the surrounding states, I could see them being the most northern park to do that.
Yes.
I think that'd be cool, too. Like they could kind of hold that to themselves for a little bit.
That would be neat.
Yeah. All right, so.
Speaking of neat things.
Oh, this is a neat thing.
How about we talk about that really big red hybrid coaster that's being built?
I'm sure none of you have seen this at all.
No,
this is going to be like breaking news to everybody.
Yeah. Also, if you look in the parking lot, there's nothing there, right?
No.
Nothing.
There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing to see. There's no chain link fences like holding people off from like the old Wildcat area.
Yeah. Those red pieces, they're just markings on the gravel.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I heard they're making like a new monorail.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a single rail monorail.
I prefer my double rail monorail. Actually, if you
that doesn't make any sense. It can't be a monorail then.
Well, if you do want to ride a double rail monorail, just ride the Beast at Kings Island.
Wow.
Sorry. Sorry.
All the Kings Island people out there who are listening and watching this, they were triggered.
Okay.
They're gonna punch you in the face.
I'm sorry, our bitter take section is not for quite a while.
Oh my God, you're gonna have like you're gonna have like 8 things to say.
All right,
Anyways,
Wildcat's Revenge. Let's talk about
Revenge.
The Pizza Hut. Our favorite.
No, I wanted to say that.
All right, say
it. The reason why we're calling it the Pizza Hut is if you've seen the station, you would know. Okay, it's this big red roof building, and there was one day at work that we were setting up like Christmas lights for Christmas Candy Lane, and this was the day that they announced the coaster. I was working, and amongst my friends and stuff, we were looking at the ride on like the, what do you call it? The concept art.
yes.
And we saw the station. I was like, guys, we're getting a Pizza Hut. I was like, it's the Pizza Hut. It literally, like, it has the shape of a Pizza Hut. So I want everybody to know that whenever you see the ride, like in person, just know that you're going to ride the Pizza Hut coaster, or at least Wildcat's Revenge, sponsored by Pizza Hut.
Yes.
Could you imagine the marketing deal that they would get? Like
Yes.
Anyways, we're trying to talk about Wildcat's Revenge. So what we want to do is review the ride a little bit.
Yeah.
Like we want to go through the entire layout from literally the beginning of your experience at Wildcat's Revenge to the end.
Yes.
And kind of go over what's good, what we think might be good, what we think might be bad, and everything in between. So let's start out with the station, the Pizza Hut, if you will.
And perhaps we can talk even a little bit about before.
Oh yeah,
you get up to
the queue
station.
experience.
So, and we can say this too, because I'm pretty sure this has been publicly said already.
The park has confirmed probably what you're about to say.
Yes. So we're going to have double-sided lockers.
Yes.
We will not have metal detectors.
No.
For a first for Hershey, we are going to have a loading and an unloading station.
Yes.
Woo!
Which is, I think it's exciting.
It'll be nice to have.
Mm-hmm.
However, it does not come without caveats. And I've expressed this to you before.
Yes, you definitely have.
Really, so our hope is, it'll run 3 trains almost
all the time.
Almost all the time.
Almost all the time.
I think
if it runs in Candy Lane, like I think it's supposed to. I think they had it on the website as running during Candy Lane, but then they took it off because of confusion that it would be open during Candy Lane this past season, which is ridiculous.
But yeah, no, they're doing everything in their power to make that as efficient as possible, which is pretty neat.
Which is, they know it's going to be popular. It's an RMC, so It's going to be a star of the park.
Yes.
So now we're on the ride. We're out of the station. Woohoo! You're finally riding Wildcat's Revenge. The pre-lift.
So you'll have that little like S kind of turn thingy, and then you'll
little like banked bunny hills.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be fun. And then you'll go through a nice little turn and up the lift hill.
Up the lift hill.
Yes. And we drop.
It's super big compared to the original Wildcat, so it's a lot taller.
140 feet.
140. I was going to say, I don't remember the exact number, but I'm glad that you remember.
Yes.
140 feet. And then we have our drop.
Yes.
This drop is going to kick ass in the back row.
Oh, yeah.
In the back row? Are you kidding me?
It's not quite 90.
It is not. I don't think.
Is it like...
I think it's like 80 or 85.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
It is not a vertical drop. However, it's still going to kick ass.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it'll be
like
great.
You are going to be ejected from the back row. But then we get into probably the star of the show here.
The world's largest underfoot.
Yes, which is a record.
Yes.
Hershey likes to go with records for their coasters, which is something that I mentioned in one of my other videos. I don't remember which one.
You will glide through the underflip. You'll get whipped around a little bit, but I mean it'll feel forceful, I would say.
So then we go out of it. You kind of bank over to the right. We're done with the underflip. Now we go into another, in my opinion, kick-ass moment. This airtime hill. Whoo! That's like Skyrush airtime.
Yes.
Like ejector, without a doubt. Front, back, middle, you're gone.
I don't even have any.
There's literally nothing else to say about it. It's just you are going to pop out of your seat.
And then following that, we are going to have our lovely speed hill.
Little kind of like a step up into our next element, which I think is, again, going to give you a little bit of ejector.
Yes, we were talking about the wave turn.
The wave turn.
Yes.
One of two. Anyways,
so after your wave turn / overbank, you're going to go into a stall.
Now, I'm the most excited for this. You are going to feel the hang time from it, but it's going to be very, very temporary.
Yes.
You're not going to be there for more than probably a second or a second and a half.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
What do you think about it? Like, you excited for it?
I would say so. I mean, I'm curious how it compares to the two I've ridden most recently are Pantheon and Iron Gwazi. Mm-hmm. So I'm very curious how they're going to compare.
Well, I think this one's probably not going to be as good as either of those.
But
those are two world-class rides.
We will never complain about a nice stall.
Absolutely not. I won't. So then after our stall, we have kind of like another wave turn, I guess we would say. But again, I think similar experience as to what you're going to get from the other one, the first one that you go through.
Following that, we have a step up, step down.
Yeah, we don't really know what else to call this, but you literally step up, you kind of level out for a little bit, and then you pop up and go down a little bit more then. So I think this is going to be a very good airtime moment. Like I think you're going to haul through it, but then also like it kind of turns a little bit to the left, so you might get a little bit of laterals there as well.
Yeah.
So then following that, after you dive down, you're going to go into the first of 2 0G rolls.
Yeah. And if you're thinking about like where this falls, I believe this is like right before that final turn on Cat, right?
This would be like where the photo is during the old Wildcat, the 1996 Wildcat. This is like where the photo is.
Okay. I wonder if that'll feel like a faster paced version of like, say, Twisted Timbers drop.
Yeah. Right. That's actually probably a great example of like, that's like an exaggerated version of this.
Yes. I think that's the closest thing at least I can think of off the top of my head.
Right.
Then you'll have that turn, like Wildcat's old turn, and then that will go into a 0G roll number 2.
Yes. Very classic RMC element. It's going to be really, really fast.
Yes.
So then after that, you're going to kind of turn over to the right a little bit, step up kind of into like a little mini, like half airtime hill.
Yes.
And then you're going to turn again, and then you're going to pop up and into your brakes. And that's it. That's Wildcat. I say that's it as if it's like a really short ride or anything like that. But it packs a punch.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot thrown in there. But yeah, if you could rate this ride out of 10, just based on the POV and what we know about the ride so far, what would you give it and why?
I'm going to say it's probably going to sit at like, we'll say an 8.
Really? That's lower than I was expecting.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I'm kind of putting Vengeance at 9 and Timbers at 10. Or not,
Wow.
not Timbers. I'm sorry, Gwazi at 10.
Okay, I was going to say.
We'll put Timbers below
Okay.
Cat's Revenge because I think Cat's Revenge will be a better ride. Okay. Yeah. Well, I probably just angered a whole bunch of enthusiasts until I corrected myself.
I think you literally triggered so many people.
Okay, yes. So let me restate myself. I would put Gwazi as a 10 out of 10. I'd put Vengeance as like a 9 out of 10. I'd put Cat's Revenge as probably an 8 out of 10. I feel like it will be a step up from Timbers, but feel like a mini Gwazi, if that makes sense.
Right. It's not like one of those smaller sized RMCs, but it's not doing something as big or grand as Iwazi.
It's like a mini big RMC.
Yeah. I would say out of 10, I would give it a 9.
Okay.
Because I have very, very wishful thinking. I'm really banking on pacing. So yeah, Wildcat's Revenge. It's gonna be amazing.
It'll be fun.
Incredible. Show-stopping. Impeccable. I want to know, because I can already tell that you have some bitter takes.
I do, but I need to think about which
you need to give me one though, because it sounded like you had a bunch from this talk.
I'm trying to remember where they came up though, because I think like
Do you want me to go first?
You go first, and then we'll see what I come up with.
We're gonna be negative this episode.
Okay.
I have a bitter take. I have a very bitter take, and you sparked it during our talk about loose articles and a little bit about the vlogging and stuff. Loose articles on rides, man. I can't understand why some people feel the need that they need to bring their phone. I understand it because people want to use their phones for like posting a POV of a roller coaster, or they want to bring their bag on because for some reason they decided to bring $500 in cash into the park, which is stupid, by the way. My mom and I went on Skyrush one time, and she thought it was a great idea to bring her phone on, but just put it underneath her.
Did she keep it?
In a sense. Of course, down the first drop, there were a group of 4 guys in the row behind us, and they had their hands up, and one of them literally caught it in their hand as they were going down the first drop. And it survived the entire ride in that person's hand, which obviously was not too safe either.
Yes. Yeah, I can talk forever about stories about loose articles.
What do you have for us, Tino?
So I will say this goes back to my days at Kennywood. My bitter take is when parks don't really, I think sometimes parks can be a little stingent when it comes to putting their second trains or third trains on the track. And the reason I bring up Kennywood is because at Kennywood we have a ride called the Phantom's Revenge. I will say Phantom's Revenge is probably one of my favorite rides of all time.
Great airtime.
Yeah.
Great airtime.
Also, like, it just has a unique history with Arrow.
It's a unique ride in general.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's just going into a ravine. Who
doesn't want to dive into another wooden coaster going through a ravine?
Also, like, who would have come up with that? Like, seriously, like, who? Like, I believe the story is like one of the managers of Kennywood like looked at that hill and was like, "Yeah, we can put a coaster.
This is a coaster. This is a coaster drop
there." Anyways,
yeah.
So, and by the way, this is something I will also praise our home park about. At Hershey, I mean, we pretty much always run all of our trains whenever they are available.
Yeah.
And even if we're not,
at least during the summer.
Yeah. Yes, at least during the summer. Mm-hmm. And even if for whatever reason, say we are not, and the line becomes a line, well, like literally that is our threshold.
Yeah.
We will throw a second train on. Mm-hmm. We do not want you guys to wait if you don't have to. That's something we really, really, like I really, really praise about Hershey.
Right.
versus parks who penny pinch and basically say, oh, we don't have to make our lines move fast. We already have your money.
Yeah.
Again, not calling anyone out. Kennywood. Oh, sorry.
Yikes.
But
you need to cover your mouth when you cough like that. So we talked about Thrill Dragster. We talked about vlogging. We talked about seasonal operations and how they can be year-round, maybe at Hersheypark now.
Yes.
In the future years, maybe in the next 5-10 years. We talked about Wildcat's revenge.
Yes.
And then we gave our hot takes, our bitter takes. We didn't have anything positive to say. We're a bunch of negative Nancys out here.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Gotta stay true. Well, thank you guys so much for watching or listening. If you're listening to the podcast or if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. It's the first episode, so show it some love. Like, subscribe, share it with some of your friends. If you have other enthusiasts that you want to share this with, please do. What you should do while you're sharing this with all of your friends is check out our socials. We have a Twitter. We have Instagram. Check out our Instagram. Our Instagram is where we're probably going to be posting the most. Yeah. Check out our Facebook. And of course, if you haven't already, the main place that you want to go to for all Sweet Sea content is the YouTube channel. It's where it all began. We hope to see you in episode 2 in about 2 weeks.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's so weird to think.
I know.
We'll be back here again.
We're going to be back here again talking about more.
That's so exciting.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Thanks for riding along with us on the Sweet Sea Podcast.
Don't forget, we dispatch new episodes every other week.
Be sure to snag a season pass to our podcast by following us wherever you listen.